why we design the way we do.
Welcome to Colonize the Ocean podcast, where we discuss oceanic colonization, exploration, and education with your hosts Adam Jewell and Brendan Traxler.
So the opening there is very vague, and I intended it to be because I think that it's a deeper question as far as um, stylistic design, the engineering behind it, etc. Especially when it comes to underwater habitats. And I could talk specifically about ASC and why we have chose to go the route we go with the design style for underwater habitats. And maybe I will. But really, what I want to talk about right now is a conversation that I had here about a week ago with a colleague here talking about underwater habitats. They're also very involved in it with their own project. And we're just talking about projects out there that get a lot of notoriety, but yet nothing happens, or they get lots of funding, and they're all flashy. Like they're the designs, designs, even though they work, they're above and beyond what needs to be there. They've got a flashy covering to them. The design elements themselves are very, organic per se. There's several I'm thinking of as I talk about this, but we got talking about it. When we're working on and designing underwater habitats, we're looking at the functionality of it and not so much the aesthetic beauty of it. Even though I don't know about him, but with me, I designed around what I like as far as the minimalistic style. So for me, I did sort of design it that way, but to the point, I said, well, maybe we're missing something here because, we've both been working at this for a couple of years and we're sure we get some notoriety, but nothing like some of these other players out there. I said, well, maybe we need to hire, a designer, not necessarily an engineer, but a designer to flash them up, so they get clickbait and stuff along those lines. And even though I'm not probably going to do that, it's to the point where in today's society, if it's not flashy, if it doesn't grab your attention type of thing, it's going to get lost, even if it may be the greatest thing out there. And I'm sure there's people watching right now or listening to this are probably thinking, oh yeah, this or this. It was like, this is a great design, but it wasn't until another company came around and redesigned it with this flashier look to it, did it actually make any grounds. So why ASC? So to circle back around, why ASC designs we do is with the whole intent of keeping costs down. As you start to add this complexity of design into it, even though it may be flashier and may be prettier in some people's eyes, sexier if you want to put it that way too, it adds cost. And so with the whole purpose is to get underwater habitats out there to the masses. The idea is, hey, let's simplify this, streamline this as much as possible so that you can build them quicker and get them out there. Now, if you're doing a one-off or something along those lines, sure, you could add some complexity to it. You could make it very flashy and stuff. But when you're trying to build, or the intention is to build at scale, you gotta give here and there a little bit. So anyway, so that's a little bit about why we do what we do. And like I said, I got thinking about this after that conversation. Is like, did we miss something here? And should we have done something different? But I don't think so. I think that because what our focus is, this makes the most sense. Now, that being said, I could be wrong. I've been wrong about multiple things in the past, especially here at ASC, and people have brought my attention to it. But I am all ears. I long for conversations in the chat or emails and stuff along those lines to figure out what's going on and what we can be doing better. Because at the end of the day, our passion and our desire is to get underwater habitats out there in any manner we can, um, whether it is for recreational purposes, for divers to use, for Airbnbs, or whether it is in the business sector where it can be underwater data centers, energy storage, etc. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. Um, and him and I spoke quite a bit about that, as far as that we still feel that the even though there's a lot of talk about underwater habitats, um, we still may be a little bit ahead of the game on that, and it really hasn't. Even though because there are different companies out there, there are different countries out there even that are implementing ideas and designs and talks about underwater habitats. So, are we just a little bit be ahead of the game? Who knows? Regardless, um, what do you guys think? I mean, I always try to end them with a little question for you to hop in chat and let us know what your thoughts on the whole thing are. But on this one, do you think, would you rather have a flashier one off, but it's going to cost a whole lot more too, versus a more cost effective, minimalistic, or run of the mill design styled underwater habitat? But it's just going to be just as functional. They're both going to be internally just the same. It just one looks completely different on the outside because it's flashier and it's got more frills and stuff to it. What's your preference?